So everybody got a agenda. Agenda?
No, I have.
are they?
Did he get his folder? I need a bigger folder. Ben get his folder? Okay.
No.
Steve needs a folder. Steve, you need a folder? You need a folder. What do you need? You got a folder? Yes. I got it on the computer.
Good, okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting 2 of the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners. It is 7:17 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Secretary Savage, could you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Douglas,
Here.
Commissioner Rye, Commissioner Connolly,
Here.
Vice President Steele,
Here.
President Ellis.
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This board did not have an executive session prior to the meeting. And we're up to item 6 now, a presentation for the stormwater aspect of Donald Taylor Park project. So we'll reintroduce Mike Hess, who is our stormwater engineer with HRG.
Hello again. I'll try and refocus the presentation from the one that I did about half an hour ago, where we focused on the stormwater aspects of Donald Taylor Park for the Stormwater Authority, and talk more about the Parks and Rec aspects of the project. So I'm Mike Hess. I'm with HRG. We're the stormwater engineer for Swatara Township. I have Zach Dellinger, who's part of our design team, along as an observer this evening. Tonight I wanted to talk about the background of the project, the current status of the project, both the stream and environmental work and the recreational work, the schedule going forward, the budget and the funding sources, how we're going to pay for the project, and what the next steps are. As far as background, I'm sorry, three quarters of you already heard me do this spiel, so I'll try and do it quickly. I think we all know where Donald Taylor Park is. It's roughly between Derry Street and Brisbane Street, just on the eastern edge of Paxtang Borough. The site has a really unique environmental feature in it, which is Spring Creek, which is a very high quality stream for a densely populated area. Typically you don't see these in town, you see these out in the woodlands. But we have one here. It's a cold water fishery, and it's a designated trout reproduction stream. The downside of that is that the park's almost entirely located within the floodplain, and not just that, the floodway. So everything we do in that park requires a DEP permit. The park as it sits today has 2 baseball fields, which are well loved, heavily used, 2 basketball courts, a tennis court, a sand volleyball court, picnic pavilion, a swing set, some walking trails, 2 pedestrian bridges, and a concession and restroom area. Previously, some environmental design work and permitting was done, which includes Donald Taylor Park by Land Studies. They designed 3 segments of stream restoration, one of which has been completed. Another one runs through the portion of Donald Taylor Park. Another consultant, YSM, had done a park master plan previously for Donald Taylor Park, and included, at least conceptually, the stream restoration work that Land Studies had designed, and some other purely park and rec type of improvements, like a playground area, reconfigured walking trails. When the stream restoration occurs, the grade along the stream will be lowered, so the old walking trails would be no longer accessible, they'd be undermined. The design includes a new bridge. Same story with the bridge. By the time we lower the grade around the floodplain, the bridge is no longer, connected to anything. Included a reworked basketball court, some accessible parking. It keeps the baseball fields pretty much as is, where is, and eliminates the tennis court and sand volleyball court, which haven't seen much use, to make some room for some of those other amenities. In fall of 2024, our firm met with the township's Park and Rec Advisory Board to kind of get a sense for what kind of recreational improvements should be put into Donald Taylor Park. Got a lot of good suggestions at that meeting. Used those suggestions in conjunction with some other just kind of broader general questions to generate a survey and put that out to township residents. I think it was pushed out on the website and the Facebook page. Got a reasonably good response. We tried to drill down into issues like how close do the respondents live to the park, how often do they go there, what age are the people who are using the park, and probably most importantly, what kind of amenities would they like to see at the park, what would be most useful to them. And I think that the big takeaway from that exercise was that YSM pretty much got it right. Basically, the improvements that they had shown on the master plan aligned very well with the feedback we got in the survey. We heard that there wasn't really much demand for the tennis court. There really wasn't much demand for the basketball court. There was a strong demand for walking trails. There was a strong demand for the baseball fields, basketball court, those sorts of things. The only one thing that we really found that was different was a lot of focus on access to the stream and the environmental features. So we've incorporated in the design a couple of little kind of informal trails to get down to the stream itself so that kids can look for crayfish and salamanders and turn over rocks and that sort of thing. On the stream side, and again, we talked about that at length last meeting, so I won't focus too much. Really, our concept there is to take the piece of the project that Land Studies designed in Donald Taylor Park and advance it to construction. We don't want to change much of anything about their design at all because they already got a permit for it, and we really don't want to have to go back to re-permit it. So it's really a matter of taking what they've done and putting all the engineered details to it that are needed to make it a construction plan. So alignments, geometry, profiles, cross sections, these sorts of things to really just flesh out their design. On the recreational side, similar approach. We want to take what YSM had done in their concept plan and make it a real constructible engineered plan set. We've had some work in coordinating with PennDOT, the southwest corner of the park, where PennDOT plans to replace the Derry Street Bridge in 2028. The way that impacts us is they would like to cut a ramp in to get down to the stream at that upstream abutment. So we really don't want to put any of our park improvements there, or PennDOT is going to come through and dig them out and remove them and wreck them in a couple years' time. And that's, while they would, in theory, have to replace them at their cost, it's just wasteful and inefficient. So we wanted to avoid that. We've spent a couple of months coordinating with PennDOT and their consultant to find a way that we can basically just stay out of each other's way. And the way that we do that was to move and reconfigure our tot lot, which is the thing that would have been bulldozed had we not done this coordination. That would have been really bad. And to realign the trail. So basically we just go out around their temporary easement. And that's kind of what you see here on the right-hand side. The crosshatched kind of L shape is PennDOT's easement. Our trail would go out around it, and the tot lot would be located north of it. We know that human nature being what it is, people aren't going to tend to walk that hard 90 degree. So we've made some provisions that a temporary trail or a trail could be installed there to cut across the corner after PennDOT's work is done. We also have a new bridge. The bridge is to be ADA. That was one of the requirements of a DCNR grant that we got. The bridge and all the trails connecting to it are to be ADA accessible. The previous design had a boardwalk style bridge with a lot of posts to support it. To make a long story short, when we did our geotechnical borings, we found that the soils there were very soft and that we couldn't use an inexpensive concrete shallow foundation. We have to use a micro pile, or we can use a helical pile, but these are more expensive foundation styles, and we don't want to do a lot of them because then the cost would increase. So we kind of moved away from a boardwalk style bridge with all of these posts to a prefabricated truss style bridge, which we only have to support it on either end. And ultimately, because we can use fewer of those foundations if we're only supporting the bridge from each end, we kind of come up with an equal cost. So I think at the end of the day, we come away with a little bit nicer bridge for about the same cost because we can avoid doing so many foundations. The concrete truss bridge is available via CoStars, so it's easy to purchase, it's easy to procure. They're prefabricated, they come in on a truck. The unit that we're looking at is available in a few different finishes. Weathering steel is the least expensive, and for the size and the span that we have here, we get a cost of about $250,000 from the contract or from the supplier. A painted steel bridge goes all the way to $325,000, which is $75,000 is some expensive paint. It is a factory applied finish. It's a baked on enamel. We had discussed trying to get the bridge and paint it with public works staff. But I think that would cause problems with the warranty, and it would cause a lot of problems if it ever had to be repainted because it's over a stream. So this is something, and Tom asked a great question in the last meeting, what's the difference in lifespan? So we're going to track down that information. If the painted one lasts, longer, maybe it's worth spending a little bit more. If they have about the same lifespan, then, it's a financial decision. Some folks don't like the look of the weathered steel. I personally kind of like it. It looks sort of rustic in a park kind of setting. But some folks feel that that's not as attractive a finish. But that's a decision I think we'll be trying to reach, working back and forth with the township here relatively soon, so we can start the procurement process on the bridge structure itself through CoStars. Schedule the project going forward. Our next step is to file for the grant, file for the permit. We really weren't in a position to do that until we got concurrence from PennDOT with that issue at the Dairy Street Bridge that we're not going to step on each other's toes. We, I think, had our final meeting and got that concurrence last week. So we've completed the grading for that scenario, completed the hydraulic analysis for that scenario, and have the permit application ready to go. I gave Kevin the form here this evening, and we'll send you the backup information to review. But that's really our next step. We want to get that permit application filed this month. And you might be wondering, didn't you just say that another firm had already got the permit? And they have. So the stream work itself is already permitted. The parks and recreation work is not. That wasn't included in their permit. And because everything's in the floodplain, it all has to get a permit from DEP and from the Army Corps. That permit takes about 6 to 9 months. So in our schedule, we've built in 8 months. It's kind of towards the conservative side of the range. So we would expect that permit to be in hand somewhere around November, sometime around Thanksgiving. In the meantime, we can work with PEMA on some Stafford Act parcels. There are a few parcels that are part of the overall Donald Taylor Park tract that the township acquired with assistance of PEMA and FEMA because they had been flooded out numerous times. So we have to demonstrate to them that we are in accordance with the deed restrictions on those parcels, which we are. We just have to show them that we're using it for open space and park and rec, but that's exactly what we're doing here. But we do have to clear it. Also, where that permit application is pending, between now and, say, Thanksgiving, we can finalize the construction specifications, we can prepare the final design drawings, get the final estimates together, basically have everything set so that when the permit comes in, we can go out to bid immediately. If we do that, then we're looking to advertise and go out for bids in about December of this year and January of next, open the bids in February of next year, and basically get the contractor under agreement, under contract, by March of 2027, so right around this time next year. That leaves them the full construction season, April through October to build it. And that's also a nice time of year to do these because we're finishing in the fall planting season. We're finishing up around September, October, and there are a lot of plantings involved in this, especially for the stream restoration and the environmental aspect. As far as budget, here's a table kind of describing the sources and uses of the funds involved in the project. Total project cost, we estimate it right around $1.9 million. Of that, we have $500,000 supplied by NFWF, National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, for the floodplain restoration work and the stormwater BMP. NFWF was really impressed with the quality of the stream that we have there and really wanted to support it. They felt that was a unique resource. We also have $250,000 from DCNR to go towards recreational improvements like trails and making the walkways ADA accessible. Fish and Boat Commission also really liked the stream and felt that it was a unique kind of environmental resource based on where it is. They're willing to chip in $8,000 of in-kind labor to build fish habitat structures in the stream. So between those three sources, we have about $760,000 of outside funding, state funding, but that still leaves $1.3 million to get to the total budget. Between those, we have them broken down into township rec funds and township stormwater funds. We estimate about 935 of remaining, unfunded recreational work and about 195 of stormwater work. And we broke those down just along the lines of what the improvements are. So, we assumed that the recreation funds would go towards the recreational improvements, stormwater funds would go towards mainly the stream restoration. There are a couple of assumptions or allowances built into this. The first one is about $140,000 for the playground equipment. We would recommend purchasing the playground equipment through CoStars. That's the most streamlined, the most efficient way to do it. We also have, as far as the CoStars purchase, about $65,000 built in for site furnishings. So things like benches, trash cans, recycle bins, that sort of stuff. It really makes no difference to us if you want to spend more on one and less on the other, however you want to shift those around. But, bottom line, there's about $200,000, $205,000 that are built into the budget for those types of features. We also have built in $250,000 for the bridge, which you'll remember was the weathered steel option. So if we go with the painted option, these numbers would all have to shift by about $75,000 to come up with the, additional funds for the finish on the bridge. These are costs that we generated as of the end of 2025. Between the end of 2025 and when we get the bids in early 2027, there will probably be some changes in costs and probably won't go down. We expect some inflationary pressures, as well as there's a lot of uncertainty right now with tariffs and fuel prices, especially within the last few weeks. So we propose to, when we come back in the fall of this year to present our final design, we'll give you an updated cost estimate based on how everything has kind of shaped up in the, 8 or 9 months between now and then. Next steps, as I mentioned, we want to file that permit application that has a long lead time on it, so we want to get that filed here as soon as we can, and we'll do the coordination to clear the Stafford Act parcels. We also want to update the funding agencies. A couple of those funding sources are set to expire at the end of the year. The funding agencies are usually pretty willing to work with us if they see progress, and I think we have a lot of good progress to show them. But better to go in now and update them than to come with our hat in our hand on December 30th and ask for an extension. We also would recommend starting to work on the suction of the playground equipment, the site furnishings, and the bridge. Basically anything we're procuring through CoStars that could have a long lead time to it. And if we can get those orders in, get the pricing locked in sooner than later, probably get better pricing. On our end, once that permit application is filed and is pending, we don't want to just sit on our hands for 8 months and wait for it. We're going to use that time to get the final design documents together, the construction specs, and the final estimates. And then we'd like to come back if you're willing to hear me do my spiel one more time in the fall of the year and give you kind of the final design update. That's all I have. Any questions?
With regard to the playground stuff, would you be able to send us the site plan? Because obviously,
Yep.
the space that we have is going to dictate the size of equipment that we're able to purchase. That might be somewhere where there's some savings that could go towards the bridge if the $75,000 or dollar more one has a longer lifespan. Because for Bishop Park, which is a much larger space, I want to say it was like maybe 200,000 at the most that we spent for that playground equipment. So that's a lot of money that is there. So we might be able to do all of it and have some savings anyway. So
Yeah, we have that site plan. We have the size of that pad all laid out.
okay,
And that's following all the revisions we did with PennDOT. So I think that's pretty well locked in, and you could start to select the equipment to fill that space.
okay,
I'm trying to find the slide where we have it. But yeah, we certainly do have it. I can send it to everybody.
that's fine. Thank you.
And I do have a question specific to the rec spending. We've been very fortunate to get grant money, and I see there's $250,000 in here. Is that, we're still eligible to continue to try to offset that, so.
Yep.
Okay, so
We,
that would be my goal to, bring that price down. Obviously, we're committed to it, so it's not dependent on other sources, but the more money we get from another source, the more money we'll have for another project, or, maybe that offsets the $75,000, adds something. But we've been
pretty fortunate in the other park projects to get a lot of funding that's not coming from our budget. So seeing that amount, I think the way Dolwood has pursued it, I think we're certainly going to look at that.
Right. Yeah, we'll continue to look. We did have one other application, which unfortunately we did not receive last year. We applied for the Greenways and Trails grant under DCNR to fund the walkways. I think they were a little hesitant because they had already funded part of the project, but we're continuing to look, and as other grant programs open this year, we want to apply to them where they make sense.
Yeah, and I want to be clear, we appreciate HRG and your part, and we're with Dolwood working on other parks and other, it's not going to hurt to have both looking for the grant, so thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone
Anything else?
have any other questions at this time or comments? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
for Spending some of your evening with us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are you staying for the third meeting?
Yeah, right? Is it- No.
Okay, just two now.
All right, we're up to item 7, visitors requests and comments. If you have comments, you can come forward, write your name and address as well as state it for the board, and then you may begin your comments.
I want to talk to the town.
Okay, you can come forward.
Come up, sir.
And the police department. Let me present you, I know you're gonna say it's not your responsibility, it's mine, but, I hired a civil rights attorney.
Sir, before you start, could you
Your
go
name
back
and
and state your
address.
name and address?
There's the cost, it cost me to fix this. Here's the pictures of what the police did to my house.
Could you go back and state your name and address for the
Okay.
record? And then we'll start over.
I want to make sure that.
You can pass them out.
Yeah,
I'm not doing
I
it.
can
Pass them out while you're
just-
up there.
Yeah, here, it will take them.
This is all the things your officers Here's the bill. My name is Bruce J. Camelio. I live on 1489 Piper's Lane. I've been in that house since I was 6 years old. I bought the house from my parents, and they've since passed. My father was honored by this township. He served in World War II, he served in the Korean War, and he served in Vietnam as a pilot. He served with the 8th, he served with General Jimmy Stewart in World War II in the 8th, the 8th Air Force, Army Air Corps. And you people honored him at the square when we put up that second stone. And I was part of the color guard from the American Legion in Stilton, and stood up there with our guns and rifles. That comes to a point. The police chief, his lieutenant came into my house and found all kinds of medals in my house, and they put that in their report. And he questioned me, saying that he questioned the medals, and he put it in the police report. Those medals belonged to my stepfather, Hank Del Vecchio. And I've since put him in, I buried him someplace. I buried him in his grave. There was only one medal in there that belonged to me, and that was a medal that showed I was in the U.S. Army Reserves. But anyway, I wanted to bring the bills to you and all the pictures to get out. I just finished a suit with UPMC, and I won. Okay? I went and had 3 bids taken. The contractor the township hired, instead of drilling into my wood when they condemned my house, they drill into the aluminum windows. They all leak now. For 2 years, my electric bill's been sky high because I can't heat my home. It's going to cost, the high bid was was $42,000. The low bid was $35,000 to replace all the windows in my house. And they said they'd get rid of that window in my front. So, I know you're going to tell me it's not your responsibility, but my civil rights attorney, the first thing he's going to, when the police woman came to my house the day before they condemned it, she followed the fireman in, and then she ran through my house, opening up every frickin' door in the house, and she saw dog hair in my closet. She didn't have a warrant at all, and then the next day I got the coding department, even your own coding department said nothing would have happened to your house if you just would have got the cat out of the floor. I told the police before they put me in double handcuffs and took me to the osteopathic hospital. I said, I'm not psychiatric. And when I got there, the CEO of UPMC, I was an auditor at one point when I worked down at the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania. I was an auditor for the Women's Medical College, and the University of Pittsburgh bought them out. They were one of the first hospitals they bought out. And I was in Pittsburgh, and they knew my name. And so the CEO from UPMC, we settled a lawsuit with them, just finished in the last 3 months. And I have a letter from the hospital that they dated it, backdated it to June 2024, and it shows that I was not mentally ill.
Now, Mr. Danilo, I think most of us,
What I'm getting at, they came to my house and they stole all my rifles and
I
handguns.
think most of us that are, at least 3 of us were on the board when you came and spoke before, so we're familiar with the story that you're referring to.
But the guns themselves, I had 2 black powder rifles. They took those. One I made with my own 2 hands. They took an air rifle.
Again, I'm familiar with what happened and how that transpired.
I want my property returned.
What we can do is we can correspond with you outside of the meeting and see what.
Well,
what
I
we
did.
can
I
do.
came in and talked to the lieutenant under the chief's control, and I went into his office and said, "Can I talk to the chief?" He said, "No, you can't talk to him." He refused to let me make an appointment to see you. He told me when I was in his office that, I can't give you the guns back because the doctor wrote letters to the state and federal government saying you're mentally ill.
So then what you're saying is you understand that we're acting in what we're told by a higher power. So there's not anything that this board can do to make that different. We have to
you can make
we have to follow processes that
step
come from other agencies and things as well.
The next step is we're going to take the police department to the U.S. federal court in downtown Harrisburg for violating my 4th Amendment rights and violating my 2nd Amendment rights. Okay?
Ultimately, the hope is that it can be resolved in a way that is satisfactory for everyone involved. But there's nothing that this board can do differently at this time if we're acting in accordance. We're acting in accordance with what we're
I'm trying to tell you,
supposed to.
Is that my civil rights attorney also filed suit
I
against
understand,
the township.
and obviously you have to do what's best for yourself to protect yourself as well. And no one is disputing anything like that, but
eventually the township's going to have to pay for everything.
there's nothing differently that this board can do at this time. If there's already a process that we're following, then we have to see it through.
Evidence from the hospital, and I was never declared psychiatric, and that police lieutenant lied to his teeth. The other thing they did, I'm
going to cut you off real quick.
The other thing happened.
You have an attorney, so we have a solicitor, and I'm just happy that you're here and you're alive, and that we were able to save your animal. And all the other things can be worked out. So you have an attorney, we have an attorney. There's probably everything you said you're repeating from before, and I understand you have.
Oh no, I didn't tell you about the
suit.
suit.
We have a version. Well, you don't need to tell us about a suit. You have an attorney. You already said that, and we have an attorney.
Well, he told me to not to come in here tonight and talk to you.
I'm sure he did.
I believe that too. I don't know that that's helpful for you.
I thought I could get my guns back. I haven't been able. I was
understood, and obviously we want to do what we can do to help you, but we have to follow rules. So if there's some entity that is preventing us from giving you something, there's a reason. We have to follow,
all I want from the police,
that guidance.
All I want from the police is to give me the property they took out of my house.
I understood. You've stated that. It'll be part of the minutes. It's on the record.
I'll drop that case at the federal court.
We will do what we can to work with you so that everything is resolved in a manner that is safe for everyone involved. So that's all that I can say, and that's all that we can do at this time.
Well, I'm trying to do it. I don't want to cause the township a lot of heartache. But all I want to do is get my property back from the police.
Understood.
And that's all I want. If you return my property, I don't want to
Again,
have a beef with the police anymore.
Understood.
Now the
But
building
again, there's
part of the
nothing
house,
that we
the
can do right
expenses-
now.
The expenses that I incurred on my home.
We'll share that with the solicitors, and then we can go from there as well with that information. But again, there's nothing that I can tell you right now that's going to make you happy, answer your questions. So the only thing I can say is we have the information, we'll pass it along, and then, we'll do what we can to work with you the best that we can. Okay?
I'm sorry I have to bring, we had
I
Latin
mean-
dinners tonight, and I had
And
to leave
you got
early.
all wet coming in here too.
What's that?
You got all wet coming in here too. You look like you were
Yeah.
dripping. But we appreciate you coming out, and obviously we're going to do what we can to assist, but if we're following guidance from a different entity or a higher entity, we're bound by that as well.
The other thing I said about your police lieutenant charged me, and I got the records out of the courthouse, of aggravated assault fighting. I want to know who I was fighting, because that charge was
And again, Mr. Dilla, those are things that are personal matters that this board would
No, I'm
not.
talking- I want to tell you.
That's fine, but not during this meeting, if that makes sense.
Well, I can't talk to the police chief because I can't get an appointment with him.
So, well, he's aware that you would like to speak with him, and then we can go from there with coordination if that's an option.
I'm talking to him as one officer. I was in the military. One thing I wanted to present him with, I wanted to show him my DD Form 214. To show him what I really was in the military. And I spent 20 years in the reserves. I was an officer. And I served my time. I served over 27 years in the Army Reserve. And I got ribbons. When they had the first Persian Gulf War, I was at Willow Grove as a major, and they kept me there. And everybody, my whole unit, I was with Company C, 6th to 68th Armor at Fort Indian Town Gap. And then when I got promoted to major, they sent me to Willow Grove. And this lieutenant was questioning my rank and everything else.
Well, I hear what I'm hearing is that you're upset about an incident that transpired.
I'm upset by number one.
But what I can
The
say right
rifle's gotta
now,
come back.
understood. You've said it. We got it. Understood.
Okay, two,
What
I want the damages to my home taken
I got
care
you.
of.
And the third is the way that you were spoken to. I got it. We're understood. We're on the same page. But again, there isn't anything that this board can do right now. So I appreciate the public comment. We appreciate your service to this country. We're going to go ahead and move on with this meeting. I have your information. I'll pass it along, and then we'll do what we can to work with you.
I
Okay?
didn't bring my cards with me.
Like I said,
I was the
we know where
commander-
you live. We know your
I served 1 year as commander of the 18th District Veterans of Foreign Wars, and I was the captain all-state commander. And I also, when I got older, I told you once before, I was commanding officer of Fort Lee. I was the provost marshal. You know what a provost marshal is? He's the chief. And I had 4 companies of MPs guarding ammunition.
So again, we thank you for your service, Mr. Danilo. Thank you for coming up and speaking. And like I said, we'll do what we
clear
can.
this up as soon as
I
possible.
understood, but we've got to keep moving with the meeting. We have other people that would like to speak as well. Okay?
The
So I'm
biggest
going to
thing I
ask.
want is I just want my property returned.
I got it.
and
You
I'll
want your
talk
stuff
to
back.
police
We got
and
it.
court.
Thank you. Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time? All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to item 8, a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're on item 9, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're up to item 10, Buildings and Codes Department. I'll go ahead and turn it over to our Director of Planning and Zoning, Director Golden.
All right, thank you very much. I apologize, I do not have the best picture of this project. The project spans such a large portion of land, 3 jurisdictions, so this is pretty much the best picture I could find for the portion in Swatara Township. So The applicant is Equity Developers Partners. The owner is Steelton Terminals Corporation. The plan, Steelton Terminal Minor Final Subdivision. There's 3 property tax IDs, and the zoning district for the lot within our township is Limited Manufacturing District. The township previously approved a preliminary final land development plan for the applicant on August 14, 2024. This plan proposed the construction of 3 warehouse buildings totaling a little over 1 million square foot, spanning through Steelton Borough, Swatara Township, and Lower Swatara Township. Minimal land development was proposed in Swatara Township. However, the site does take access off of Quarry Road in Swatara Township. The subject property currently consists of 2 tax parcels. Parcel 36007097 is located in Swatara and Lower Swatara Townships, and then parcel 570160009 is located in Steelton Borough. This subdivision first proposes to consolidate those 2 parcels into one lot. After the consolidation, 2.9 acres depicted as proposed lot 2 on your screen here on the subdivision plan will be subdivided off and given to the neighbors who own the quarry property. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission and the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission and all of staff. Dawood reviewed it as well. HRG did not review as there's not a stormwater component. The applicant is requesting a waiver of the preliminary plan requirement, a modification of the map scale, a modification of the plan scale, and then a deferral of sidewalks, pedestrian walkways, and bicycle paths along South Harrisburg Street and Quarry Road. The Planning Commission supported all those requests. However, regarding the sidewalk, they did request a ADA ramp be placed on the eastern portion of the property, and the applicant is willing to do that. Other than that, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the plan with the conditions set forth in your staff memo. There's nothing of major significance that would cause the plan to be denied, so we are recommending approval. And Jeremy is here as the applicant.
I probably have a couple of questions so I can satisfy my thoughts, if that's okay, Madam President. Sure. Majority of this warehouse was in Steelton Borough, correct?
Yeah, before I answer, Jared been here with Landworks Civil Design. There's 3 warehouses. Warehouse number 1.
Back in my memory.
Yeah, warehouse number 1 is located entirely in Lower Swatara. Warehouse number 2 is located in a portion of Steelton and a portion of Steelton Borough. And then warehouse number 3 is actually located in all 3 municipalities.
Okay. Are you changing where that's going to take place if these 2 parcels are combined?
No, the land development plan is going to stay exactly as approved with some minor modifications to the driveway here, but the buildings are going to stay where they originally were.
That's what I needed. I still remember some parts of the plan, but that's what I needed for satisfaction. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Zach, I appreciate you. You stole my thunder, so I
Sure.
don't need any of that.
And one thing I did fail to mention, Madam President, is they are requesting, or they are offering the dedication of a right-of-way. I can kind of zoom in here. This is the next item on our agenda. We are recommending approval of this right-of-way dedication as well. The solicitor has reviewed it.
All right. Thank you. Do you want to?
And one more comment, just.
Go ahead.
And just to be clear for the public, we're concerned about the part of this, the small part that is in Swatara Township. I saw some confusion before where, people were talking about the bigger portion of the project. So the traffic's coming in. We had previously talked about altering the entrance to make it more accessible. There's some existing sidewalk between that property going down Quarry Road, and we've addressed all those issues that directly affect Swatara Township and the flow of people in and out. And then since that time, to make things better, you're looking to acquire some additional property from the existing landowner. Is that?
It's actually the other way around. We're actually giving some of our land to the
them.
Corps.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
We actually currently own everything on the screen that
But
you're seeing.
then let me back up. So the part that they're acquiring, obviously, if you're giving it up, it's not essential, and it played no role in the bigger picture, the bigger plans.
Correct.
Okay.
And a large chunk of what we're giving them, they actually already have an easement over our property to access, and a large portion of their operations is encroaching past that easement line and onto our property. So part of our negotiations, we'll be removing some of their buildings from the entrance area, which is better for the access and cleans up the intersection. But then we're giving them the rest of the land. So instead of an easement, they'll just own the property outright.
And then, so really, it's not affecting the basic early plans of the flow in and out of your project?
That's correct. And part of the dedication that Zach mentioned there, that allows the township to maintain the entire intersection as a whole within their right-of-way, whereas right now, one of the legs of the interchange is actually located on the property owned by the applicant here.
And I apologize, because I was going off of the blown-up picture, but it was only at the very end of the street, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions, comments at this time with regard to the subdivision plan?
No, the only thing, I'll make a motion to approve that resolution. Steve, do we need to do the deferrals, or excuse me, I think he has, what is it, 2 waivers, Zach, and 1 deferral?
One waiver,
Or one waiver.
2 modifications,
Two modifications.
1 deferral.
Should we do that separate from the resolution? Or can I just incorporate that in my motion?
Do it all? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll make a motion, and then for the 1 waiver, 2 modifications, and the 1 deferral.
Oh, sorry, before, I believe at the planning commission, we removed one of the modifications, the 1 inch equals 100 modification. I think we decided wasn't needed.
It's not gonna hurt.
Yeah, yep, I'm fine with that.
All right, I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We've already had discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that's going to be resolution R-2026-9.
And then, Madam President, the next is a resolution for the right-of-way deed of dedication with this project.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion with regard to the dedication? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that will be resolution R-2026-10. Thank you.
Did we do the plan in the first one? We did the plan and the waivers together?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Yep, you're good. Yes.
Appreciate you. Well, 2 more townships to do this again.
Yeah, no, you're good to go. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yes.
That's why I said good luck.
Take care. All right, so now we're up to 10C, consideration of resolution for fees.
Yes, Madam President, I presented this resolution at your January meeting. Since then, I have been able to meet with our new commissioners, explain the fees resolution, and I believe we have general support with our new commissioners that for the minor changes we're proposing. The most important thing for the public to be aware of, these are fees that only affect people who are doing specific projects, such as decks, sheds, whatever they're doing. It's not a fee increase for every single resident. It's project specific. So other than that, I'm here to answer questions. I won't bore everybody through all the changes again.
I'm not going to bore you, Madam President. Can I have the microphone?
Sure, go for it.
Zach, you I'm sorry.
You're good.
May I have the
Go
floor?
for it.
Yeah.
That's what I was-
Zach, you got 8 pages. I think just some administrative things to tie up. Page 5, the DVD, CD. I just want to make sure the intention is, because it does say up to actual cost not to exceed $1 per disc. So is that $1 over? Or can we get rid of that language, not to exceed $1 per disc? Because I'm telling you, if I came here, I hate this, I'm going to say, you said not to exceed $1 per disc.
That's straight from state code, from the right to know law ordinance. So it's copied per word.
Yeah. Or I guess we got the attorney order, it could say
Yeah.
that includes the actual cost plus $1, not no more than $1 per disc. You see it on page 5 of that document?
Yeah, that's simply referring to the cost of the disc itself,
Okay.
which I mean, you've been able to get 1,000 of those for
That's what we pay the
a couple
attorneys
bucks
for.
for years.
Page 7, and then let's go to page 8 as well. Just some stormwater items that we need to address. So I guess the same question for you and Steve. You know, when you look at the permitting and then you look at the operating and maintenance agreements and you look at the stormwater side, you know, obviously that's a separate legal entity. I think that needs to be put on the stormwater side. I don't see how, and I don't know if that's true or not. This is just me thinking of how things operate. I just don't see how the township can, and I know it's been our practice, but in order to clean this up, I think we should get that addressed. The practice of stormwater takes permitting, escrow, and operation and then maintenance agreement, because that is the entity that's solely responsible for that function. And I get the ordinance and everything else, but
Yeah.
maybe if we could look at tweaking some of that. But I mean, if we're okay with moving forward with status quo the way it is, based upon the opinion from legal, I'm fine with that.
I think that would fall under the category of things in the ordinance that we've been discussing, possible cleanups for a while now.
Okay.
My suggestion would be, since it's currently in the fee schedule, leave it alone, but it's one of the items on the list that's being reviewed.
That's, other than that, Zach, you satisfied everything that we have discussed previous to my objection with this document. And I think if we just go and clean that up when we do clean it up with the ordinance, I think we're headed in the right direction with that. So I appreciate your time on that. Thank you. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And then again, for the public, by way of discussion, these fees, some of them are things that are charged to us from a third-party entity that would do part of the permitting, the inspections and things like that. So what's happening now is we're not collecting enough revenue from the people that are having projects done to cover the fees that we're being charged. So tax dollars are subsidizing the money that, you know, we're charged. So the reason for changing this is to make it so that if you're getting a deck or a project done, you're paying the cost, and those of us that are not aren't helping you. So that's the reason that this is on the agenda this evening, to try to make it so that we can recoup and be even, essentially, from the cost of processing these permits and things like that. So, do we have any other discussion or questions at this time?
Fine points, Madam President, because that's been going on for a considerable amount of time, and to
Yeah.
fix that now is, so I echo your comments as well. Second.
Thank you. All right. We had discussion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. So that will be resolution R-2026-11. So we're up to item 11A, Treasurer's Report.
Yep, I have both, again, similar to stormwater, both January and February treasurer's report. And would you like me to just also read the February, or I can also
That's
read
fine,
the
yes.
January? And do you want me to read beginning balances the same, or just so that it, like I did for stormwater, or are you guys fine with me doing the total?
I think what we've been doing is
Okay.
total funds. Is
I just
that
wanted to make sure.
correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Beginning balance of all funds, $21,457,617.96. We received $3,290,219.61. We dispersed $4,700,465.52, with an ending balance at the end of the month for February of $20,047,372.05.
All right. So we have January and February that are going to be approved this evening. I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. I'll second. Do we have any discussion at this time? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We're at 11B, solicitor's report.
I'd just like to say it's nice to see everyone again tonight. Nothing else from me.
Good to have you with us this evening, Steve. All right, we're at item 11, fire services and EMS report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm going to be up here for a little bit this evening, so I decided to come to the podium. First, the new monthly report, I mentioned that we have a new programming language with the fire reporting software. I took that opportunity to completely rebuild our monthly report. I will not put them up on the screen every month, but I am open for ideas and suggestions on what you'd like to see in the report. It's very similar to the end of the year report, just trying to, put more information out there. So as I'm reading, you can just scroll through, Brendan. So during the month of February, Swatara Fire Rescue responded to 118 incidents, an increase from 102 incidents during February of last year. Year to date, the department has handled 268 calls, showing the continuing trend of increased calls. Using the National Emergency Response Information System, NERIS, reporting language, you'll see these categories have changed. So the main categories are fire incidents, rescue incidents, public service calls, hazardous conditions, law enforcement, medical emergencies, and non-emergencies. So in February, we responded to 10 fire incidents, 0 rescue incidents, 11 public service calls, 12 hazardous condition responses, 18 law enforcement assists, 21 medical emergencies, and 46 non-emergency or alarm-related incidents. This classification provides a more accurate picture of the diverse service that the department provides. I do like the new language that NERIS has put out so far. Like anything new, I'm sure it's going to change over the coming months. If you look through the report, the second page breaks down the next page, the other way. That actually breaks down the major categories into the smaller categories of what they actually are. 84 incidents occurred in Swatara Township. We had 16 overlapping incidents, and we had 36 mutual aid responses. Again, all of these details are broken down. I'm not going to read through the whole report. These reports will also be posted online, just like they were in the past. So that is it for the monthly report. Is there any questions on that? No?
Thank
All
you.
right. Again, if you see anything that you'd like to see added, just please, let me know. And I do have a question. Now that they're 18 to 20 some pages long, does the board still want printed copies, or is electronic okay on a monthly basis?
I can't speak on behalf of the board, but I absolutely do not want those papers.
I was gonna say, if there's like a recap page, or it could be like one, I don't know if that's something that could be an option for one thing that's printed, but it's also fine for it to be electronic too.
If Brendan, if you're at the point and you're ready, like, I'm fine with
Just
looking at
review it
everything
here.
right here, and I can have it in my email electronically, and I don't need any paper. I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're ready there yet for us. I don't know if you can differentiate the screens for some of the things that we need to see versus the public. But if you're there, I'm 1000%
Talk
ready.
offline and make sure we need to have a conversation about the audio,
Right.
because that's, and again, we can talk offline about that. I think we have a resolution to squaring away the issues that we've been having with the audio, so we can.
For the eldest member of the board, do you have a preference?
Could it be painted on the wall of a cave that I can understand?
Sometimes you like the printed copy.
And you know what? There's nothing you can do because that's your daughter.
I want to rein this back in. As the committee chair, I'm updated on the numbers ahead of time. And if I need those on paper, I'll take that. But I'm fine with this. And I do like the fact that when you were reading the report before, we would have it, the public wouldn't. And I like
At least they could see it now.
setup.
Yeah.
So I do not need, I like this though. I do not need it in paper.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll work all that out. With your permission, Madam President, I'd like to discuss another topic.
Okay.
Tied into the monthly report. Over the past few months, weeks, and particularly last week, there's a lot of misinformation that is going around about the Chambers Hill Fire Company. So I'm going to read a timeline of start from where the issue started to where they finished, where we're at today, and everything in between. So if I could have a few moments, I will try and be as brief as possible to give a whole picture, but we're gonna go. And the point of this is not to blame anybody, it's not to make anybody look bad, it's to put the facts out there of what happened and how hard everybody has tried and participated to make this situation better. So in January 2022, the Chambers Hill Fire Company was placed out of service after the majority of the active volunteers indicated they were no longer going to respond from that station. Most of the volunteers relocated to other Swatara fire rescue stations. Although the station was listed out of service, an engine still remained housed there for 2 years and was able to respond if a crew would have went to get it. It did, I believe, respond to maybe 5 incidents over the 2 years. And that was typically when one of our officers was there checking the engine. So that was January of 2022. So from 2022 to 2024, again, it remained out of service due to the lack of staffing, but could respond if they had a crew. During this time, the incidents were handled by other Swatara fire rescue stations. Volunteers continue to respond at other stations that were responding from Chambers Hill. In February of 2024, the engine that was in Chambers Hill Station was converted to an engine rescue. Part of the reason was that our heavy rescue was in an unfortunate accident. So to make better use of our township equipment, improving operational coverage for the residents, we converted that engine and placed it at Station 91. So it could actively respond to incidents. On June 12th, 2024, the Chambers Hill Fire Company and some members attended a Swatara Township Board of Commissioners meeting. At this meeting, it was stated that they had 14 qualified firefighters willing to respond. Following this statement, discussions began between township leadership, Swatara Fire Rescue, Chambers Hill Fire Representatives, and the Fire Rescue Advisory Board. The goal was to determine whether a plan could be put in place to restore the operations at Chambers Hill Fire Company. September 3rd, 2024, information was requested from the Chambers Hill Fire Company to evaluate the viability of restoring the service to the station. This included the names of the firefighters that were willing to respond, new membership applications, staffing records, training records, call participation, and facility usage by other agencies. Now, this information was necessary to help develop a performance improvement plan to assist in rebuilding the staffing. The staffing concerns were identified during follow-up discussions with the Chambers Hill Fire Company. Only 2 new applicants were identified. 1 applicant declined to serve at Chambers Hill, and 1 applicant did not make it the whole way through the application process. Several of the previously listed individuals, 14, were not willing to respond out of the Chambers Hill station, or they just never followed through with anything they said they were going to do. Fast forward to fall of 2024. I believe this is the October timeframe. The Fire Advisory Board, at the direction of the Board of Commissioners, proposed to start working on a performance improvement plan for the Chambers Hill Fire Company. The PIP included recruitment benchmarks, staffing expectations, response time and participation goals, and shared responsibilities among the township, the fire department, and the volunteers. So September 30th, 2024, there was a meeting with the Chambers Hill Fire Company representatives, And during this meeting, all parties acknowledged that firefighter staffing levels were low. It was agreed to temporarily delay the performance improvement plan because Chambers Hill Fire Company was having an open house to recruit volunteers. Unfortunately, that recruitment effort did not lead to any new leads or active firefighters. During this time, the Fire Advisory Board chairman also attempted to contact everybody that was on the list that said they were going to respond for Chambers Hill, and did not have much success with that. Early 2025, operational limitations were acknowledged. During the continued discussions with Chambers Hill, representatives acknowledged that volunteer participation remained very limited. Chambers Hill indicated that maintaining a fully trained and certified engine crew was just not feasible at that time. As a result, Chambers Hill Fire Company leadership proposed responding with a utility instead of a staff fire engine and to continue trying to recruit members. Last week there was a statement about what was in the PIP. So the PIP was phased. At the end of the PIP, there were staffing goals on how many hours we expected the fire station to be staffed with members in station. During our initial meetings, we realized very quickly that we were nowhere near that. So the committee and the leadership decided we'll worry about that later. Nothing is set in stone. Step one is page 1 and 2 of the PIP, and that was to get volunteers. We never got past page 1 and 2. So it was not a whole bunch of members said they didn't want to participate because there was a PIP. That did not happen. So once this was acknowledged, there was discussion about the financial support to the fire company because they still continued to rent their hall and collect the monies from that, provide a very limited service, and the township was still paying all of their bills. It was discussed with Chambers Hill, and I did provide emails to the whole board on those discussions and the efforts that were made to transfer those bills over, giving the grace of paying the insurance through the end of the year. So it wasn't just thrown upon them that they had to pay their bills. While this was going on, it was decided that a lease agreement was needed so we could decide how much of the bills we were going to pay and what portion of the building that we were going to use. In the lease agreement, I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but it was basically, I believe 60-40 was the percentage that we were going to use 40%. They were going to use 60% for their fundraising, and we would control who had access to our portion of that we were leasing. Chambers Hill's leadership, their board, rejected the lease, and that was pretty much the end of it. And we've been working on transferring over the bills since. So again, that is a brief overview, brief timeline of approximately, more than 12 months of all the effort that was put in on the township staff, Chambers Hill leadership, the fire advisory board. It's just, we couldn't get people there. Brendan, if you can pull up the staffing part of the report. And I think this too is another misconception of people say, well, let's just put firefighters there. Let's just put part-time firefighters there. Okay, we have 2 stations that are actively running right now. And as you can see, at one of those stations, 92% of the time, there's 3 personnel in the station ready to respond within 1 minute and 30 seconds of being dispatched. You can see the numbers that is greatly reduced at the Rutherford station, just because we do not have enough people to keep 2 stations staffed all the time. And that's with 3. NFPA says we should be responding with 4. And you can see the numbers for 4 up there, 78, 79%, 6% for January at Rutherford and 7% February. You can see that we have made improvements since last year. The bottom chart's there, but that's the reality of where we're at with staffing. I think it's very commendable for a mostly volunteer organization to be able to staff that much and that percentage of the time. But again, if we add a third station in there, there's not enough people. So that's just the reality of where we're at. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right.
I have a question. The 40/60, the 40% in the lease agreement. I don't want to get into the weeds of something like that if it's too long to even discuss here tonight. Can you give us the meat and potatoes of what that 40% within the lease agreement was?
Basically, the idea was to take whatever the utility bills were, split it 60-40, insurance 60-40. That was the gist of it. Basically, we pay for the portion of the building that we were using.
And I just want to add something. The 40% was identified by Chambers Hill. We had asked them what percent of the, they measured it out. We didn't go there. And they said that they would use 60% for their fundraising and meetings and things that they do. And that 40% of the area would be used for fire rescue services for Swatara Township. So they said that 40%. So the bills would be transferred in their name, and then we would reimburse them at 40%. So just say that, to make it easy math, if they paid $1,000 a month, they would send us whatever the utilities were, insurance, the share of the stormwater. Basically, we would pay $400 of the $1,000. So just basic math. But we agreed with them on the 40. We didn't get into exact square footage or anything like that. We trusted that they. And it was moving forward, and I just want to give credit to Mary, Klaus, and Greg Miller, because the whole time they were negotiating and trying to do things with us, they were going back to people that really support them, but wouldn't step up to give them the support they needed. So vocally, they said, we support you, and we'd keep it open. And I know Mary and myself had meetings with people that were going to step up and do some of the operational leadership, and because of things in their life, and something would change. Like I truly believe that there were 4 different people who, in June, July, up to October, said, "Well, I'm willing to step up," and then they couldn't. Something changed in their life. They added something. They realized it didn't work well, and through it all, Mary and Greg were doing everything they could. I think there was 150 plus people at the open house in October that was supposed to generate membership. And I mean, that's the night when everybody, hey, we're going to do this. And some people gave Mary their phone numbers. They took applications, and then she, did everything she could to chase them down, talk to them. And it's tough, so we're really thankful for the people that do volunteer, but without having a volunteer presence there, that put us in a position. Now, what do we do about apparatus that's not getting out the door to save lives and help people in the township? Now, do we even take the step to think about supplementing volunteers that are non-existent with paid? So there certainly was an effort to do it. Mary came to the podium and genuinely asked on June 12th of 2024, and a group of people, the fire service board, Chief Everson, the officers, everybody tried to figure out a plan, and we couldn't get past the first hurdle. And just to be clear, if we had 1,600 calls last year, if my math is right, 1%, if you responded to 1% of the calls, it would be 16, 2%, 32, and it keeps going. And we had looked at 22 and 23, and I'm not sure if my numbers are wrong, but I actually think it was 5 each year. And I'm not sure what you said. Yeah. So if they responded to 5 calls in 22 when they had apparatus and 5 calls in 23, we needed that apparatus somewhere else to get on the street, to cut response time, save lives, and move on. But we didn't say that we were done. We took additional, if you think about it, it was another, year and a half of working and hoping, and it just didn't work. And Mary and Greg are part of Swatara Fire Rescue, and I think they do a great job. And I think in Mary's heart, she wanted to build up the numbers, and we wanted to see that too. And it just didn't happen. So I like the way Chief Iverson started. It's not really blaming anybody. It's just saying what happened. And unfortunately, when you hear that we have 14 or 16 firefighters, and then you say, okay, well, let's talk to them and see what they're going to do. And then one by one, they come off the list rather than go on the list. Each time the list was down to 2 or 3 at a time who were committed. And I just want to be very clear that through the entire time, Mary was always one of that number, and Greg Miller, once he became involved, has stayed with it. So we appreciate what they offer and what they give. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to speak to, and you can, I'm not going to ask any questions, I'm just going to comment here. I think we as a board have to be intentional about our leadership, our delivery, and our consistency. And I've said this time and time again sitting up here. As leaders, I think I understand what is transpiring now that I have a little bit more of a grasp of the rhetoric that's being thrown around through the township. So, one of the first things we have to do as leaders is, are we going to fund this fire department or we're not? That's where we're at. And that has to be decided by the 5 members up here, not the fire chief. That is a fact. We are the authority having jurisdiction. We will decide whether or not Chambersville Fire Company is recognized as an independent organization and whether they're funded from taxpayers' money. More importantly, I tend to agree with Chief Iverson on a lot because he knows exactly what he's doing, he's trained in what he does, but I'm going to add another step, and I'm not going to say I disagree with you because I think we're both going to agree with what I'm about to say. It is 2026. We are beyond the time of trying to get a fire truck on a whim or a maybe. Swatara Township deserves guaranteed fire service, and that's the intentional leadership. Whatever that model might look like, it's past the time. And so for us to staff another third station, it's possible, but we need a guaranteed fire service in Swatara Township. It's time to stop thinking about this, talking about this, and it's time to deliver that model to the residents and the transits of Swatara Township. That's where we have to be intentional with our leadership and our delivery. And what does that model look like? Well, I think Chief Iverson needs to begin to deliver that model and keep us abreast on a monthly basis of what that model looks like for proper planning for the future. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That guaranteed service was needed 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. So kudos to what you put in the report, but I think it's time for you to start to deliver what you and the Swatara Fire Service Rescue Board have been working on, what the residents have paid thousands of dollars for studies that all say the same thing. I think our last study was almost 20 years ago probably. And now we're here and it said the same thing. It gave us the delivery model. We followed that to a certain extent. And we're at the end point now where it's like the next step is a guaranteed fire service. And we're scared to take that next step. Well, it's time to take that next step. I think it's time to go out to the residents and have conversations, what this looks like. And because we have to be consistent now. There are too many residents here. There are too many transients. There are too many businesses. And let's be honest, things have changed where, when you look at it from a threat assessment, that's why we must consistently deliver every single time someone calls 911. And kudos to the volunteers that are still there. But you talk to them, they're tired. They're tired. They're wore out. They need a break. They are also the ones asking for this guaranteed service. So I say to this Board of Commissioners, in order to be intentional with our leadership, there are hard, tough decisions that have to be made in the coming months. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
And I want to add something to that. That's the path that we're on. I mean, we've added paid part-timers. Everyone, not here, you see it across the state, across the country, everyone felt that volunteers would put out fires forever, and we're seeing that that's not happening. So we're definitely, we're moving that way. I agree with everything, Commissioner Steele is saying as the end result, but we're certainly moving pretty rapidly towards it, more rapidly than anyone else. But there's still work to do, and I appreciate the volunteers. We're in the stage now that's kind of what other places is known as the combination. We have both paid and volunteers. I think even the end model of this, if there's paid full-timers, paid part-timers, we're still going to appreciate and count on and include our volunteers in fire rescue service in Swatara Township as long as we have them. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, and I think it's evident by the reduced response times. But what is really an issue, if you look, is at the number of calls. And they're not necessarily fires. This is fire rescue. So the calls, which I see we're getting a nod, but they're also supporting all types of other calls, and more often than fires are the other calls, including medical and things like that. So we're definitely getting better and better and better. And we're not quite there. We're almost there. But I think in partnership right now with what we're doing, the mutual aid that we both provide and get, our EMS provider, and the dedicated people that we have, whether they're paid or volunteer, we're certainly moving in the right direction pretty rapidly. So appreciate it. I see we have EMS.
Yeah.
That like you. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well.
We're here.
I'll make it quick, as always. Couple things. First off, we're also dealing with new software changes. It must be the beginning of the year where they do all this stuff. So I'll be meeting, Chief and I talked outside, I'm going to meet with him next week. We have a couple things to discuss, but also try to change some of these reports that mean a little bit more. They give us a lot more options, which just makes more clutter sometimes, but we'll try to give you more information. Real quick, there were 461 calls in February. 374 of them came out of Swatara Station, and the rest came out of Paxton or wherever they're responding from. Our normal response time, let's see, it's here somewhere. There we go. Response time is 9 minutes and 3 seconds to get on the call, to get to the call. Our outshoot time is about a minute. Average scene time, we're on scene usually only about 20 minutes. So, and then our transport time is about 13 minutes in most of the facilities in the area. And our turnaround time is about 26 minutes. So all told, you're about an hour to do a call. So that's pretty quick to get turned around and get back here. We've made great strides in keeping 2 ambulances in Swatara most of the time anymore, because the volume continues, as the chief can tell you, continues to rise, especially for medical, and the assist of the fire department obviously is crucial to make that work on a very critical calls. So that's really all I have for my report. If you have any questions or anything like that, that's really all I had today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Always great. Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. All right, we'll go on to item 11D, the Police and Community Service Report.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I have the Police Department report for the month of February 2026. In the township, we handled 1,087 calls for service, and in Paxton Borough, 69 calls, for a total of 1,156 calls. Our Part 1 crimes between the township and the borough, we had 1 robbery, which was solved with an arrest, 20 assaults, 25 larcenies, for a total of 46 Part 1 crimes. The Part 2 crimes were 1 forgery, 12 fraud investigations, 1 embezzlement, 8 vandalisms, 1 weapons offense, 20 drug offenses, 2 family offenses, 7 for DUI, 1 liquor offense, 4 for public drunkenness, 12 disorderly conducts, and 26 that are in the category of all other offenses, for a total of 95 Part 2 crimes for the month. On the second page, are the total monthly stats. We had 44 criminal arrests. We had 4 traffic stops that resulted in DUI arrests, 43 stops that resulted in citations, and 142 stops that resulted only in warnings. We issued 6 non-traffic citations. We had 23 parking violations, 9 foot patrols, and 13 foot patrols in our schools. In the crime and call trends section, you see in that bold column, year-to-date 2026, Part 1 crimes are down as compared to last year this time, as are the Part 2 crimes. Our calls for service are actually up as compared to this time last year. But for the month of February, the Part 1 crimes were down, Part 2 crimes were slightly elevated, and the calls for service were actually down as compared to January. The Community Services Division had 5 events and presentations in the month of February, 2 enforcement programs. We collected 36.95 pounds of unused prescription medication in our drug drop box, and there were 12 mix-app inspections. On the third page, our highlighted event of the month was from February 9th. The police department hosted a one-night presentation on patrol operations and the use of force in law enforcement. That was for the applicants for this year's Citizens Police Academy. We had a really low turnout as far as the number of people that applied for that academy. So instead of doing a multi-week program, we did a one-night show, and it was pretty fantastic. I was there with Corporal Pocrop and Lieutenant Kraling. Lieutenant Kraling presented material on patrol operations, and Corporal Pocrop talked about use of force. He also did a taser demonstration with our X2 taser, and the night concluded with a patrol vehicle overview by Lieutenant Kraling in the Public Works garage. And like I said, we had a great time getting to know this small group of applicants. The upcoming event is the same as what we advertised last month. It is the Senior Resource Fair. The township will be hosting the 4th annual Senior Resource Fair on April 29th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the LCBC Church in Swatara Township. The event features over 100 vendors who specialize in resources for senior citizens. The Senior Resource Fair is free to attend, and it's open to the general public. The complete breakdown for all of our calls for service are on the pages that follow, if anyone is interested in reading through all of that. The entire report will be posted on the website, and it'll also be in hard copy format in the front lobby for anyone who would like to see it. And I can take any questions.
Does anyone have anything?
I'd like to, there's upcoming Coffee with the Cop.
Yes. Yeah, that was scheduled after this was created by with the Community Service Report, but we have one scheduled for the 19th at Target over at High Point Commons. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And I was fortunate enough to attend the February Coffee with the Cop at the McDonald's on Paxton Street. I wasn't there at the beginning. By the time I came in, there was a pretty good crowd, and some people continued to come in after me. And I think that's a really good program, a good setting to be out in the community. I know some people like having it here month after month, which we did because of COVID. God bless you. But I like having all these places that you can go to. And I would have never thought about the Target, but I had attended one there. The actual Coffee with the Cop Day, you did 3 Coffee with the Cop sessions, and I was really impressed with the Target. I didn't know how it was going to work or what they were going to do, but right there at the entrance, greeting people, great conversations. And I just want to touch, I'm going to bring this up at the end of my comments, but on the warm days that we just had recently, I was out walking in the community and asking people what they thought about Swatara Township, and I identified myself many times. And the respect for our police is just absolutely incredible. Like, everybody had a story, even if it was an officer, put the window down and said something to them, the canines. None of these people, to be clear, were criminals or had been arrested or anything like that, just seeing things in the neighborhood. But it just seemed like the level of respect and the thanks that they wanted me to pass on. So top to bottom, certainly appreciate what you do, and the public definitely gets it. So, great job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I have a question, Chief. I don't know if you're able to give us this information, and by all means say that you can't publicly. Are you able to speak on the story about the embezzlement? See, it was only one.
I'm not, but
Okay, that's good.
I can
Got
pull
it.
that information and I can call you tomorrow and
Yeah,
tell you
roger
what that
that.
was.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. I'll follow up with you.
Thank you. All right. That's my agenda. We'll go ahead and move on to 11E, the Public Works and Recreation Report. Turn it over to Manager Trafka.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening again. I'll quickly run over the February monthly report for the Public Works Department. Announcements is same for some of it. We continue to do our winter maintenance program. That includes road repair, signs repairs, and brush collection as needed. The other announcement is brush collection, just a reminder, for the residents begins April 20th. It goes the whole week, and we follow the normal schedule. I know with the nice weather this week, we've been receiving a lot of calls. And then I want to remind too that the compost facility will be open on April 1st. And I think the permits will go on sale here at the building on March 23rd. So those are my announcements. February activities. The Public Works staff continue to work at the crest as time allowed. They performed snow removal on February 23rd. They continued to clean up some of the snow in the narrow streets as time permitted earlier in the month. And they processed all the woody waste and turned the leaf compost from last year's leaf collection. Parks and Recs report. They assisted again with the playground equipment at Ivy Ridge, the installation at Ivy Ridge and the crest. They're working as they can get in as the ground begins to dry up and get the playground mulch and the sub base down before hopefully spring gets here. They also continued to do the normal maintenance with the bathrooms, the park grounds, removing the trash. Parks and Rec staff did remove trees at a couple various parks. Again, they worked at Ivy Ridge and the Crest, and they also began the field preparation for the upcoming baseball and softball seasons. And those are my reports.
Thank you. Just with regard to our Horner or Oberlin Park, for the public, there was a very large tree that was removed, and that's something that's been talked about for a few years now, because years and years and years ago, the township received a grant from, I think, DCNR. Does that sound? I don't remember exactly which.
I can't remember which entity.
But we are required to have ADA accessible pathways through the park to all of the amenities there, and unfortunately the tree that was removed, the roots were causing issues with the walkway, so that's the reason that was removed, and we'll be working in the future towards making sure that we have those walkways accessible for everyone to all of the amenities that are at that park. Did I miss anything with that one? We're good with Oberlin? I got it all?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Okay, thank you.
And I was in the area of Ivy Ridge in that development. A couple of the residents were appreciative of the swing sets that were put in. So for the public, the swing sets are installed, and the sub base is down. The mulch, the wood fiber, the protective area, we're having trouble getting it in because it's a little swampy. So I went down there today, was talking to Kevin on the phone. There was a little orange thing in the sky for just a brief second, and then it started to rain. So, and then our guys were going to bring that wood fiber down, but they're playing it by ear with the snow melting and the rain that we had. It's a little soft not the playground area. The playground area will be set. It's just getting to it across the grass field. We don't want to track it up and you know, kind of make more work for ourselves later. But that really looks nice. People in the neighborhood, you know, love what's going on. And if you're not familiar with the park, it had a small play area in the outer field, and now it has swings that kind of bookend that, and some additional benches that were added. And I won't go into it tonight, but that's part of an overall park project that Commissioner Steele, as the chair of rec, is overseeing. There's about 5 to 6 more amenities that will be coming to Ivy Ridge. And the joy that I was seeing on the children, the parents, and the grandparents with just the swings going in, it's really going to make a nice impact in that neighborhood. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that park, it has ample parking and incredible views of basically the rest of Swatara, Paxtang, but all the way down to the Capitol from that plateau that sits on. So, and there's also at least 2 bald eagles that patrol that area. So it's really a treasure to have here in the township. So thank you for what everybody's doing out there. Thank you.
I was going to throw in the eagle thing if you didn't say it.
No.
But beat me to it. All right, now we're up to item 12, a presentation of the Rutherford Fire Station feasibility study. So we'll turn it back over to Chief Iverson again.
Welcome back. Good evening. Commissioners, again. Let's wait on the technology here. All right, I'll be very brief with this as quickly as I can. I believe you all got it via email, the full study. I know there were some issues because the file was so big. If not, we'll make sure that
we have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it was late 24, the board approved feasibility study to be conducted for the Rutherford Station. The purpose of the study was to evaluate whether the existing Rutherford Station can realistically be renovated to support a modern fire service operations, or whether a replacement facility is more responsible long-term solution. The study focused on 3 primary questions. Can the existing facility be renovated to meet modern standards? What operational and site constraints exist? And what options are available to support future fire service needs? The goal again was to provide the township with an objective information to guide for future planning. So go ahead, Brennan. You got me out of order now. Where you go back? Sorry, I wasn't watching. So the study was conducted by Mans Woodward Studios with input from township leadership and fire department personnel. The process included evaluating current building, reviewing site constraints, identifying operational needs, and developing conceptual facility options. So the study identifies several significant limitations with the existing facility, spatial constraints within the existing building, inadequate sleeping quarters for staffing, insignificant restroom and hygiene facilities, lack of decontamination space, limited gear storage, and restricted circulation through the building. In addition, the site and the apparatus movement created safety concerns due to the slope of the apron and having to back from the direction of Dairy Street. The existing station was designed decades ago, actually 1991. So at that time, you know, they built what they needed for that time. Probably wasn't a thought in their mind about having to staff with career firefighters. Codes and standards. The study also evaluated the facility against current building codes and modern public safety standards. These include firefighter health and safety standards, contamination protocols, and emergency facility construction standards. And you can see up there, those are all the current standards that are not met by the current station. Site evaluation. There's a photo of the current site. The biggest constraint on the site of the overall property is to the east of the current Rutherford station. There is an easement because there's a tower located on their property that was placed there a number of years ago. So nothing can be done in that red area outside of parking. Okay. This is just the evaluation method. These are all the things that they looked at as they evaluated each option. Again, we're going to go over those 4 options, but cost control, site efficiency, emergency response, oversight, parking count, and program overall efficiency. So the first option was renovation, the current facilities. While the renovation may appear the most cost-effective initially, the study found this option does not resolve many of the fundamental limitations of the building and the site plan. Again, limited space for expansion, continued apparatus safety concerns, and operational limitations. So ultimately, renovation would still result in compromising the facility and what the needs are. Option 2 is a single-story station to the east of the property. While single-story design can be operationally efficient, the footprint is very large, too large for the site, and we would be backing almost directly off of Derry Street due to the short apparatus ramp that would be created with that. Option 10, slide 10. Option 3, the hybrid 2-story. Third option uses a hybrid 2-story design to reduce the building footprint. While this improves site efficiency, it still presents maneuverability challenges for larger apparatus that would not fully meet the operational concerns and would require apparatus to do a 3-point turn for drive-through bays, which is not feasible. Option 4, this is the recommended. The fourth option would be a full 2-story facility on the east end of the property. The advantage is compact footprint improvement for the site layout, would allow for drive-through apparatus bays, separation for public and operational areas, and would satisfy the full ability of the operational needs for that. Go ahead, Brendan. So tonight was just to provide an overview of the feasibility study and what it said. Again, I really appreciate Commissioner Steele's comments about being intentional. This is something you can't make a decision on now, but you need to be aware and start planning for it because I will say, there is plans and a minimum of 16 firefighters would be needed to staff 1 fire truck. And realistically, none of our facilities are currently designed to be able to handle that, plus our current volunteer personnel. So, this is something that I think we need to continue to discuss. It takes years to design a building and eventually build a building. So we're already behind the 8 ball. But I think with further discussions, we can hopefully move forward at a pace where it'd be reasonable to meet our operational needs. Any questions? If you have any more, just feel free to contact me. You have the full report, which is, I believe, 30-some pages in your packets.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. We're up to item 14. 13.
Motion.
We have a motion.
I'll second the motion.
And this is for approval of a police service agreement between Swatara Township and Harrisburg City School District. I'll let you go ahead and give us some information. Superintendent Stauffer.
Madam President, the Harrisburg School District reached out to our police department because they are holding their prom on May 9th. And the prom will be held at the Sheraton here in Swatara Township. So they were asking for some assistance with police officers at their prom. The school district is looking to pay for that service. which we'd be asking them to do anyway. They sent over an MOU just to define the relationship between the school district and the township for that one specific event and how the payment would be made. The MOU was reviewed by the solicitor's office. The solicitor's office had a couple adjustments to that MOU, which I sent back to the school district, and they were in complete agreement with it. So it's before you all for a decision tonight. If it passes here tonight, it does have to go back to the school district for the school board to vote on the MOU. So this is just the first half of making this happen for the prom.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or discussion at this time?
I do, Madam President. Chief, by staffing that high school at that point, would that hinder your department at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's good. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are up to 14. Consideration of resolution adding an additional check signer for designated bank accounts. And it would be our Director Golden. I'll entertain a motion.
I make that a motion.
And I'll second, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for any discussion.
Are we missing the proper pages? Normally it states everybody who's on there.
I have the master document.
Nothing else changed.
The controller of everything.
Carol, I had a
That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm just, I know what we do.
Yeah, nothing else is
suggestion to wipe
changing.
out the account numbers and stuff just for the packets, and I thought, we hadn't thought about that before.
No.
But I have the master one with the account numbers and stuff.
I have some discussion, Madam President, if I may. I take it this was at the discretion of the township manager. Obviously, he's a new township manager, so he's the leader and ultimately responsible for our financial outcome through the years and his directors and things like that. I'm not necessarily in agreement with this, but I will agree that when you have new leadership, you have to allow them the ability to put in their own policies and procedures and see if it works. You just can't cut them off where they're at. But I'm going to give the history of where we came from to where we are now, just so we have that. The reason why we are in the situation we're in is because at one point you had 2 automatic signatures from board members, and then you had 1 staff member in 22, 23. We know that we got ourselves in a bad financial situation because there was no oversight of the board. This is just things that I've seen being the chair of, previous chair of finance, and we just spent uncontrollably. And I'm just going to request that, even though I'm not in favor of this, that Kevin and Zach, you keep an eye on this because this is important. We still have a deficient fund when it relates to the general fund, but I don't think this board should handicap Kevin, being the new manager now, for some of the policies and procedures that he wants to put in place to steer the ship in the right direction. So I just want to throw that out there, that we know that where we were at in a bad place because of this before, let's just pay attention and make sure we steer the ship in the right direction.
And then by way of discussion, this was a decision that was made between Manager Trafka, Treasurer Yarzinski, or Finance Director Yarzinski, and myself, of who that is available at the building that would be able to review and sign off on checks, so that there isn't a delay in making sure that stuff is able to be paid. So that's taken under consideration. We're doing everything that we can to be fiscally responsible, which I think is always the goal. It doesn't always end up that way, but that is the goal, and this is just to try to make sure that we're able to meet operational needs as well, so that there's someone actually at the building at all times that would be able to sign off. So do we have any other discussion at this time? And then again, this is just one person being added, nothing else has changed with the way that the signers are currently.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to put Zach on the soapbox here. How do you feel about it?
I'm comfortable doing it.
All right. Yeah, I heard it. All right.
Yeah, I have every confidence that the Finance Committee, as well as adding Director Golden, that this will be fine. And again, this will actually make things run smoothly.
I think we all have the same concerns of past practice, and I think everybody deserves a chance, especially with new management, so I'm on board with you.
I'd just like that as the committee chair of Code, Zoning, and Planning. I did very briefly ask Zach one question. It's not going to interfere with anything that he's doing, and he's more or less, an extra. But the fact that he is in the building, most of his work hours seem to make sense. And when he said he was okay with it now, he seemed a little more enthused than I know.
No.
I guess I do have one question that I did not think about till you actually talked. So just in our policy hasn't changed in the PO policy, so you will no longer be approving POs, I take it? You won't be a check signer and a PO approver for your department?
I believe that's correct.
Are we going to give that responsibility to someone else?
That's correct.
Okay. And there's the checks and balances. Okay. Fine, thank you.
All right. Anyone have anything else? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We're up to,
What number is that resolution?
that's going to be 12.
What?
Resolution R-2026-12.
Motion.
No.
Too early. They were, I was moving ahead, you were moving ahead, but the next one's a resolution as well, so that's why I was moving forward. Okay, 15, special purpose parking at 603 Highland Street, so.
Motion now?
Yes. We have a motion and a second. We'll let Superintendent Stauffer go over this briefly, and then we'll get this meeting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes.
So, pretty straightforward request from a resident who lives at the address that's listed there on the agenda. He presented all the information that he needed to for our officer, Brandon Ryder, to do his traffic study and his investigation. And it's his recommendation that the township install a special purpose parking space there for the resident.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Just have a generic one, just make sure that we go back and look at everything that we did, and let me make sure I get this right. Is it 6 months or
3 months?
Is it every 90 days we have to combine them in a resolution now? I mean, combine them into the ordinance?
I think
it's every 90 days.
It used to be done annually, but I think that the solicitor's office pointed out it should be done.
It is actually required quarterly, I remember that. So let's just fix it, Kevin, that'd probably be something for you to put on your radar. Yep. Go back and look at all the ones so we keep them on the books and then change them into an ordinance. That's the only generic comment I have.
Thank you.
Because we're at the 3-month mark.
We are. Good timing.
Just making a comment. By all means, this doesn't mean he gets his own personal parking space. But so if there's a vehicle there and he's like upset, and Chief, you have another issue you're probably going to be.
Actually, it will be reserved for the resident.
It'll be his spot,
Yes,
his personal spot,
and it'll be posted the way that Commissioner, those have been posted in the past. The person will have a placard that's issued to them by the state with a placard number. So that space will be designated for the use of that person with that placard number. So if another person would park there with a different placard, they could be ticketed and or towed.
Man, Swatara Township is awesome.
That's good to know, because I've seen lots of discussion on social media about that. And I was under the impression that anyone with a handicap could.
It's done, different municipalities do it different ways.
Okay.
In Swatara Township.
That's good to know.
Yeah, in Swatara Township, because the residents, jump through all these hoops to make this happen. They have really good reasons to make this happen. The township has always determined that that person deserves to have that space for themselves. But that's not the way it is in all municipalities.
Okay. No, not at all.
Other municipalities, residents go through all the same steps, which results in a generic sign being posted. So anyone with any placard could park there. But that doesn't really seem to meet the needs of our residents. So.
Well, I learned something. Thank you.
I think this goes into how the residents, the people of Swatara Township, really come together as a whole, as a unity and a family, and we look out for each other. That's great. That's awesome. Thank you, Chief.
Of course.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that one's going to be R-2026-13. All right, we are up to our second visitors' requests and comments. If you have comments, you can come forward, state your name and address, as well as write them down, and then you may begin. All right. Item 17 is on our agenda every meeting. If you have stormwater violations, you can always reach out to us via email and we'll take a look at those. We're up to commissioners' requests and comments. Commissioner Douglas.
I've said enough tonight. Outstanding job. Thank you for the presentations. Let's get everything on that screen. Just don't. Just. I don't know if anybody paid attention, but as soon as I got this in my hand, I put it down there. It's a lot. I got the computer. I got everything we need. We got the technology, 2026. We keep saying it. Let's do it. It also is injustice to all of you. I'm pretty sure none of you got this, right? Out there. So we want you to be able to see what we see. And this is great. Thank you very much for coming out. Please get home safe and mindful that although you can't see the rain, it's there. Those puddles are there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Connolly.
Yeah, I just want to address, I thought the gentleman was still here, but the speaker earlier, without getting into too many details, unfortunately what happens is people will come to this podium and attack employees, staff members, police department. I just want to be clear, just give a little context to what went on there. There was a concern for that gentleman's health. There was concern for animals that he owned in his house. The Swatara Township Police Department responded professionally and was able to rescue an animal that was trapped inside the home. There were some other issues in the home that were not that good. The person was helped, received medical treatment, took a considerable amount of time. The home was condemned during the process and what was discovered there. And then the same police department, code staff, commissioners did everything they could to help the person.
You're being requested to refrain from some of the things that you're saying.
Okay, then I'm just going to basically say, don't believe everything you hear at the podium.
There you go. Perfect.
Our staff did a great job.
There was a meeting where it was discussed in public anyway.
Everything I did say had previously been said, but just to be clear, it's very easy to come to the microphone and say things when the people technically can't counter or aren't here to counter. But everybody involved did a great job. I just want to move on to what I said about the police. I was out in the community walking and talking. I made a list of things that people had said, and one thing they were thankful for in our community that I heard from multiple people, but it was the same thing, was the fire response in the community and outside of the community. A couple incidents in Steelton Borough that had a rapid response. What's happening now is people have their cell phone, so they're there and they're filming the fire, and then they're seeing who shows up, and then it gets out on a video, and generally the responses have been good. Only thing I got was good responses. The police response, I had already said, the superintendent Stauffer. People love that when you're in the neighborhood, the weather's finally nice, the cold has ended, the snow's melting, and our officers get out of the car, they stop, they talk to somebody, they wave. We're still a community that does community policing. We're not there where we have to respond from call to call to call. We don't have that type of crime rate. We have incredible police officers that are capable of responding to any call, any situation, but they're also good people and they're friendly, and credit to them for getting out in the community. I had mentioned about the compliments that came in for some of the recreation improvements. I get a lot of questions. All you have to do is go to the Turkey Hill in the tri-communities of Oberlin, Bresser, and Enhot, and you will be asked about what is going on all over the township. especially Bishop Park. Everybody wants to know what it is and what's going on, and a lot of questions, but good conversation. People are happy with what's going on there. The Public Works, the compliments just continue to come in on the snow removal in Swatara Township, and that's great. Makes me feel good. I know we have great employees, but almost everybody has an example of another community where it wasn't as good. That we try to move on from that, but I had a couple conversations, and I could have said at the last meeting about stormwater fee and things like that, and some people are confused. I had a few people as recently as the last couple of days that thought that the stormwater fee had increased. They thought that the stormwater fee was a per month fee. It's still $60, and it's a one-time a year payment. So you pay it 1 month. So really it is a $5 a month, but you're only paying it the one time. We talked about that before. The cost of billing and the confusion and the effort to collect $5 12 times a year isn't going to happen. So, I had a few people saying that was one of their concerns, that they had to pay $60 a month. And then they were very happy to find out that the time they paid, which was due the 3rd of March, is that right, Brittany? March 3rd? That was it. That's it for the year. And that's not the same in other places. So that was a positive. Also a conversation about taxes. There's a tax bill that's out now. If you have the taxes paid out of your escrow, that tax bill has increased, but the Swatara Township portion of that tax bill did not increase. So if you have to work something out with your mortgage company, or your home is paid for and you're paying the tax bill, the last 2 years, Dauphin County, who's on the tax bill with us, increased their millage rate. Swatara Township has not. So again, that didn't please the public as much as I thought. They were happy that we didn't raise taxes, but they're still upset that their tax bill was higher. So I tried for that. And I had an interesting situation that involves codes, where I had a conversation with 2 people who reported codes violations. I'm not going to say what they were or where they were. They were happy with the response and the outcome. And then I had a person who was actually the person who was the violation say that they were dealt with fairly, they corrected the violation, and they're pleased to move on from there. So that's a change from what we normally get. And then I won't say anything, because there's speakers after me, about 2 things that are important and that are coming up, other than what they are. The senior fair will be in April, and I'm assuming we're going to have an Easter egg hunt. And other than that, I'm going to say thank you to everybody that comes out, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Vice President Steele?
Did you just run our whole weekend in? I'm going to glean off of that a little bit. First and foremost, thank you for everyone that logged on and came out here and sat with us this weekend. To echo some of what Commissioner Connolly just said, we did a lot of community involvement over the last weekend and the week prior, and it's amazing that as you're engaging your residents, and you'll say I was pretty pointed. What are the issues with Swatara Township? And that's what you get, nothing. It's all good things. Questions, maybe some questions about things people didn't know, our residents didn't know, our seniors were happy. It's amazing sometimes, because you have all this noise and rhetoric, and to actually get out and be amongst the residents in Swatara Township, and that's when you really get to see what's actually happening in your community. It's not other people's opinion, you're hearing it directly from the residents themselves. So I did enjoy myself as we walked too. I think I lost at least a quarter of a pound, I want to say, because I only had one dinner the one day, and then I think we were just drinking water and eating snacks, strawberries the next day. So we're on target to get where we need to get. As far as, yes, we do have an Easter egg hunt March 28th at Ivy Ridge, 11 o'clock. The rain date is April 4th at 11 o'clock. Earth Day cleanup, that's your go. April 18th. You figure out where you're going to go yet, Commissioner Conley, or time, or you just want to put something on Facebook?
I think we set the time. We just didn't set the location where we're going to meet. I believe it's 9:30 to 11.
Okay.
And then obviously we'll pick the areas that we can have the most impact.
And then don't forget the Senior Resource Fair, April 29th at LCBC Church at 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. We're still working on some additional things for the seniors too. We're just not going to just do the Senior Resource Fair. We've been coming up with some ideas, so look forward to some things coming out with that for the seniors as well. With that, that's all I have to say. Thank you and have a safe night.
Thank you. I'll be brief as well. Just hope everyone that has kids can come out to Ivy Ridge on the last Saturday of the month to participate in the egg hunt. And on a personal note, my brother Jordan's birthday was on Sunday, so I just want to say happy heavenly birthday to him. And just because I've done that in the past and it's nice to say his name. I want to thank everyone that took the time to come out here this evening and takes the time to come to these meetings in person. It's a big time commitment and you guys stayed through the end, so that's appreciated. I want to thank everyone that takes the time to watch these meetings at their leisure or live, and I hope everyone that is here gets home safe, and I hope everyone that's watching has a good evening. So I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 9:18 p.m.